pa ima li ne?
Naši sad dolaze.
Oh, did he? Oh, all right. Good.
Dobro večer svima. Kao što smo najavili, došli ste vidjeli jedno zanimljivo predavanje, znači ovaj dio naših Biztalk meetupa, gdje vam nastojimo dovesti baš zanimljive goste sa nekakvim baš dobrim znanjima, iskoristivim svima nama i u bilo kojoj životnoj situaciji, a pogotovo naglasak u ovim našim poslovnim situacijama. Znači, pitat će večeras dosta govoriti o tim tehnikama, znači prezentiranja na više načina, a svakako, ja sam rekao da u jednom dijelu posebnu pažnju posveti malo vama, znači našim startupima koji su u ovoj fazi, znači pripreme za prezentiranje, ali naravno i općenito će pitati dosta toga reći, tako da to su sve univerzalne stvari koje se preklapaju stvarni život i ovo poslovno pisanje prezentacija. Zašto Peter? Evo, kao za one koji ne znaju, znači Peter je ovdje naš Spličanin, koliko već godina?
U Splitu?
U Splitu.
U Splitu 5 godina.
5 godina u Splitu, u Hrvatskoj puno više. Znači,
20.
To vam lično razumije hrvatski. Tako da, a inače stvarno čovjek ima bogato iskustvo svjetsko, tako da vrlo je teško uhvatiti uvijek kufer negdje po svijetu, Saudijska Arabija, Kanada, Nizozemska, nemoj samo tamo sad istok, Ukrajina, Rusija, malo se ovamo više. Uglavnom čovjek ovdje ima odlično znači, iskustvo i inače je TEDx speaker, coach znači za teaching presence, puno sve tih srodnih tehnologija, znači vrhunski stručnjak ovdje kod nas u Splitu, tako da jednostavno mi je bilo žao da ne iskoristimo to i da ne podarimo malo stvarno vrhunskog znanja ovdje, a evo pogotovo u našim startupima u programu Starti student. Jer obećao sam im da neće biti još samo prostor, vi nemojte krivo shvatiti, još jedno predavanje fakultetsko, nego malo više iz stvarnog svijeta praktički. Ali evo svakako pozdravim naše profesore koji su napravili taj jedan odmak i malo se isto ovdje ušli u rov sa studentima, tako da stvarno veliko priznanje. Peter, izvolim, pozornica je tvoja, na usi rečenicu naučio, jer tako, evo nedavno je bio, znači vodio shift, ako je bio tamo video ga, ako nije, on će biti shift u malo. Znači, poslije ovoga kad završimo, ćemo samo molim timove da stanemo, da se dogovorimo, pitati s vama ono što smo prošle godine radili, napravio sutra, preksutra, pol sata, one-on-one, malo i vidio vaš projekt i da vam nekakve savjete kao nešto skroz neovisan i ono savjete za nekakve jasne komunikacije. Evo, Peter, izvolite.
Thanks. So, I like that. You're clapping. I haven't done anything, but you clap. Thank you so much. And you do it so well on your own. So wonderful. Right, so Damir said, 5 years. So 5 years in Split, right, already. But altogether, like 22 years in Croatia, right? So I know, I say that and your face is like, yeah, poor thing. Yeah, absolutely. Why hasn't he left? I lived in Rovin when I first came here. 22 years ago, and then I got married, and then I had children, and then I moved to Varaždin. I lived in Varaždin for 15 years, right? And then last 5 years or so, I came to live here in Split, and I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 girls, who are Croatian girls, and I'm quite happy here, pretty much, more or less. All right, loads of good things here, loads of not so good things here, but that's okay. Generally, I'm happy. But everybody, when people see me and when they hear my accent, they automatically assume that I am a tourist, maybe that I live, I don't know anything about Croatia, but that's okay. But that's what we do, isn't it? Like we look, we listen, and we make these judgments. Just like now, those of you who don't know me, or you haven't heard of me, or you've just, all you have to go by really is maybe the photograph and something that you saw online, or maybe what Damir said, right? And now I stand here, you look at me, you listen to me, you make your own opinions, your own story in your head about who I am, what I'm doing here, and what you're going to get, right? So I can't control that. I can't control that, what you're thinking. But what I can do, certain things I can do with my behavior, with the way I move, what I say, how I say things, can start to help you think in a certain way, get closer to an area where I want you to think, right? But I cannot judge, I cannot control at all. And you judge me, right? I can't control you judging me, right? Some of you might think, oh, this is going to be good. Some of you, I'm sure, are thinking this might not be good. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, what the hell am I doing here, right? Perhaps. But that's okay. That's okay. Over the next 60 minutes or so together, here, I'm going to be sharing with you some ideas, some things to think about, things that you can think about to help you when you speak in public and do that better. So that might mean for founders here, when you're sharing your pitch, when you're pitching to get people to take action, to persuade them to think differently, or it might mean if you're in the jobs you do, might just be more assertive in the way that you present yourself, your ideas. It might mean later on when maybe you go for an interview, all right, because that is a complete experience of being judged, right, completely at an interview, right? People are judging you whether you're the right fit for what they're looking for, and you're looking to see really if it's the right fit for you, right? So things we do over the next 55 minutes or so together will help you perhaps look at yourself and evaluate yourself and think, okay, well, this is how I show up. Maybe I need to change something, or maybe I could do something better, and that's what we're going to do. How does that sound? Should we do that? Does that sound good? Should we do it? It's like that, yeah, I don't care if I should remember doing it, okay. Okay, well, that's what we're going to do, whether you like it or not. Right, so, can I use this then? Yeah. Okay, great. There we are. So, this is what we're going to go through. I don't need to tell you or read this to you. This is pretty much the different elements we're going to jump into, okay? And then these two here. Happy? That, and then that. Right, very simple. Right, number one, mindset. Mindset. So when you speak in public, if you've spoken in public, if you have to do that, or you will have to do that at some stage, I'm sure, how do you feel? Tell me. How do most people feel? Maybe not you feel, but how do you imagine most people feel? Tell me. Nervous. You all say nervous at the same time. Nervous, all of you. Yes, nervous. Why? Why do people feel nervous? They're not used to it. It's something different, something they haven't done before, so they're not familiar with it, and obviously it's something out of their comfort zone, and they feel uncomfortable because we don't know what's going to happen. Absolutely. Okay. Other feelings you might feel? Anxious, same as nervous, okay. But again, judgment. Everybody's judging you. So as soon as you get in a position where people are looking at you, you have the right to judge me, right? Because I'm standing here. This is the spot where you can see me and you can judge me, right? So in my mind, I can go two. There are many different things I can think in my mind, but there are two main areas. One area I could think, okay, you guys are judging me. I ask myself, will I fit in in your mind to something that is good? Will you like me? Right? Will you accept me? Will you think bad of me? Will you judge me because of what I wear? Will you judge me badly, negatively because of what I say? Right? All these things of judgment are happening, right? I could think of that, right? Right now, I'm not really thinking of that. I haven't really thought of that. I thought a little bit of it, because you always think a little bit of it. But my main thought is more about what I'm going to be sharing with you, right? So I'm thinking about, what am I going to give you? I'm thinking about this next 55 minutes or so together. I want to give you some ideas. I want to hopefully make you feel like, yeah, I've got something from this. Maybe one thing, maybe just one thing is good. Maybe you'll walk away with 2, 3, or 4, right? But if you just walk away with one, that's good. It's a good thing, right? I want you to feel like, aha, this is interesting. This is value. This is something I want, right? Here, now, you've all came here. You physically came here, right? So you're giving me your time, right? You owe me nothing. You owe me absolutely nothing. Just because you're here, that doesn't mean I can feel like, I'm feeling good because you're all giving me your time. I have to think the other way. I have to think your time is valuable, and I have to make sure I fill your time good, right? So I have to think not the negative side, the positive side. How am I going to make this valuable? What am I going to give you? How am I going to make sure that at the end of this, you're going to get this, this, and this, right? So once you start thinking more about that, the nerves, the anxiety, it doesn't go away, but it will start to go down. And the more you do it, so anything we do more of, anything we do a lot of, in fact, doesn't mean we get better at it, but it just means we get more confident at it. Think about it. If I had a ball, let's say I had a ball, right, and I was just like kicking it against the wall, right? I just kicked it against the wall, and I just kept kicking it against the wall. First couple of times I kick it, it might go over there. I kick it again, and then it'll go over there. But if I kept doing it, probably after a bit of time, I feel like I'm actually quite good at this, right? Just kicking it and just boom, 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 right? I might get good at it, but first of all, my confidence goes up. So anything we do more of, we get more confident, and that is good. Always remember that. So the more you do this, the more you put yourself in a position where people are judging you, you get more confident at it, and you become stronger. It's like anything where you tell me moments where most of us are out of our comfort zone. Tell me. Think of situations where we're out of our comfort zone. Can you think of any? No? No? Come on, there must be times where even when you were younger, the first time you do usually the first time you do something, right? First time you go to school, first time you go to university, right? The first time you go on a date with someone, right? The first time whatever it is, the first time, because you haven't done it before, and so it's unknown. It's the unknown that scares us, and that's a normal thing. But after you've done the first one, usually it's not so bad. It's not so difficult. You do it again and again and again, and you build up in your mind just a way of just building this confidence to do it, which is what I did. Over the years, 15 years ago, more than that, started doing this because I had to. Sales, presentations. Some of the time I was good, some of the time I was really bad. But I built up little techniques. And those techniques is what I do now, what I do today. Help people do the same thing. Feel good about what they're sharing, and helping people to bring down the anxiety, not get away, it doesn't go away, but bring it down, and then focus on the value. And you can do that in many ways. By what you say, how you move, your gestures, the actual words, how you connect, right? And so that's what today's about, okay? So our mindset, remember, up here is everything. Up here, how you feel about you when you present, how others look at you and how you feel when others look at you. This is important. Letting people judge you. Saying to yourself, it's okay, listen. It's completely okay. I know that here, not everybody will get value from this. Hopefully you will, but I know that some people may not. We don't have to like people. We don't have to like them. We don't have to listen to them. You don't have to sit here and listen to me. Probably you will. If you don't want to, you're emotionally you'll switch off, but your bodies probably will stay here because you don't want to feel awkward and uncomfortable by walking out, right? Okay, that's okay. Sometimes you do. In certain situations, you get up and walk, right? But I have to keep you here, not just physically, but I have to keep you here emotionally, right? So hopefully, the things I've said at the beginning, I've told you what you're going to get hopefully at the end of this, and this is enough for you to say to yourself, yeah, okay, I'm going to stick around for this. Let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. Maybe not. But I'm going to take a risk. I want you to take a risk on me, and that's what you have to think all the time. Whether it's a pitch, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a meeting online, right? And you've got people in front of you through the screen. Whether it's a meeting in the morning at work. Whatever, a small speech of 3 minutes, whatever it is. You have to, again, think to yourself, let people judge you, but I'm here to give value. I'm here to give you what you want. Give you something that you're going to be curious about, right? So I assume, I don't know, but I assume you're all here because you saw the invitation. You want to learn at least a little bit about pitching, presence, and storytelling, right? Yeah. So that's a good start. And I've said to you, by the end of this, hopefully you'll get this, this, and this, right? So that's that. Just doing that will take you away from the anxiety. All right. By the way, towards the end, we'll do kind of questions. All right. So anything that's on your mind, anything you don't agree with, anything you want to challenge me on, or anything that's specific for you. Well, there's a microphone, and then you can just ask. Yeah? Okay. Right. So, we've gone through that. We'll go now on to the defining the purpose and value. Mentioned it just there as well. Whenever you speak, whatever it is, you need to know in your mind why am I doing this, and what is that value going to be? Okay? So here I've said to you, you know what the value is because I've said it to you. You're going to walk away hopefully with this, this, and this. Help you feel stronger speakers. Help you take your speaking up a little bit more. Bring down their anxiety and learn a few things. Maybe even just one juicy thing, one big thing that's going to maybe help you start to think differently. I can't make you here better speakers. But what I can do is give you these ideas that you might think about and look at yourself and think, actually, I could try that next time I speak. Okay? So really define, really know what the value is and what the purpose is. It doesn't matter what it is. A TEDx speech, big TEDx speech. Helping TEDx speakers. Often it's getting people to think differently, a different perspective. That's what we usually work on. A pitch, right? A startup pitch or a business pitch. That is action. Always action. We always try to get them to do some kind of action. Not just think differently, but think differently and take action. Right? We'll talk about that slightly later. That's often with that. It might be a meeting in the morning that you with your team, perhaps. Purpose of that. Again, define what that is. What do you want people to feel? What do you want people to think? What do you want people to do? If you haven't thought about those things, it's really difficult to get people to feel these things. If you don't know what it is, people are not going to do it. Often you have to tell people what to do, or tell people, or share emotions so they feel those emotions. Okay? Right. As I say, feel, think differently, and take action. One of those, two of those, or three of those. Start thinking about these three. The next time you're doing a small speech somewhere, next time you're putting together your pitch or changing your pitch. If I ask you now, those of you, I think there's four startups here. You don't have to tell me now, but have you really thought about the purpose of your pitch, the purpose and the value you're sharing of your pitch? Let me tell you one thing. So pitching, so working with startups, working with lots of different accelerators, Microsoft for Startups in Dubai, all over the world, we always, there's one thing, a pitch. When you pitch, you can always get quite easily. One thing, the purpose of a pitch, one thing you can always usually get if you've done it well, and that is a conversation, right? Pitching, the whole thing of pitching is getting people curious enough to come up to you afterwards and go, listen, I'm curious. I like that. I kind of like that. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm curious. I'd like to know more. Let's have a chat. Let's have a meeting. Let's have a coffee. Right? That's all it is. If you can do that, then you're on the right way. Because nobody will give you anything else. Probably most people when you're pitching will give you skepticism. They'll be skeptical. I think that can't work. I think I've heard that before. Why does he or she think that's going to work? But that's actually a good thing. You need to let them challenge you, right? So pitching, thing you can get easily. Purpose, conversation, curiosity. Get them curious. That's all it is. Right. Problem, solution. Right, so so this is for pitching, but it's not just for pitching, it's for actually anything. Anytime when we want to persuade, and we're often in this position, when we want to persuade somebody that our solution is a good solution, right? So whenever you want to persuade someone of a solution to a problem, it's easier to get people to listen to you with the solution when you really talk about the problem. Remember this, right? So more about problem, and if you show you understand the problem, you show you know the problem, why the problem's there, you understand the problem of the people that are listening to you, and they understand the problem. The more you do that, once you get to the solution, saying, okay, well, I've got a solution to this, people listening to you are more likely to be ready for that solution than if you didn't talk about the problem. Essentially, this happens so often with pitching, so often with startup founders in pitches, and in business as well, pitching business. They go straight into the solution. They say, okay, this is the problem is this, blah, 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 right? We've got a solution to that. Yeah? I've got an answer to that. Now the answer is this. So before I get to this, I really need this, the problem. I really need to make sure you understand that this is a problem. That you understand that I know, I get the problem. That I really understand it. That my credibility for kind of understanding that problem and the solution is good enough. Right? So we'll go through this, startups will go through this when we do this individually, but it's a very, very big tip to remember. The more you get people to understand that problem, and that you know that problem, and you really get how they feel with this problem, there's a connection there. There's that bond of problem, like problem bonds, let's say. Then, if I say to you, well, listen, I've got this idea that I feel will really work, that's going to solve this. Let me explain. Everybody's ears is like, wow, okay, I want to hear that. Because you've already shown that you really understand it. If I show you I don't understand the problem, if I say to you, listen, there's this problem, you give me a problem. Give me a problem with tourism in Split. Give me a problem with tourism in Split. Anybody got? There's a lot of problems with tourism in Split. Give me one. Shout it out, anybody.
High traffic.
Huh?
High traffic.
yeah, lots of traffic. Yeah, I could say, listen, there's loads of traffic in Split, and it's really crazy, and I've got a solution, right? I'll tell you about the solution right now. And I'll tell you about the solution, right? I could do it that way. Or I could go, listen, we live in Split. We all know the traffic issue here is absolutely unbelievable. The number of cars every year, every summer grows, right? The number of cars coming in and staying in the city grows, right? We all know there are not enough places to park. There are not enough car parks, okay? So if we were to look at this as a graph, it would carry on every year, more and more and more. It becomes more frustrating for us locals who have cars, we can't park. So if I tell you all this, then I say, listen, all of that, I need to change it. I've been thinking of a way to solve this, right? Because it affects me, it affects you. And I'm going to show you now an idea that I think will work. You there, at this point, you are more likely to listen to me and really want to know what this solution is, rather than if I just said to you, oh yeah, there's a problem in Split with the traffic, here's my solution. Okay? So it's all about just getting, and my credibility went up because I said to you, I live here, you live here, we know this is an issue, right? As people with cars here, we know it's an issue coming in and out, right? So it also helps bring up credibility. So, problem solution, building on that problem. Sorry. So we're building on that problem and showing your credibility of why you understand this problem is a really good thing, because if you don't, people can say to you, well, who the hell are you to give me a solution to a problem I know about, right? People are going to think, well, who the hell are you? What do you know? What do you know, right? You have to ask yourself always, founders, say to yourself, people can say to us, what the hell do you know? Yeah? Why are you telling us this problem? And you have to show why you know the problem, why you understand it, why are you doing what you're doing. Because if somebody else can do it, if I can stand here and do your pitch, founders, whoever you are here, if I can do your pitch and deliver it well and talk well and you know, do all this and with my gestures and everything and sound good, if I can do it better than you, there's a problem. Right? Because I haven't got, with your startup, I haven't got any credibility because it's not my idea. Remember, your credibility lies in why you're doing what you're doing, okay, and understanding that problem. Okay, let's move on. Emotional awareness. Now, this here, emotions, it's the number one thing, and we don't talk about it enough. It's not something that comes up too often. But this is really how people are influenced. This is how people make our decisions. We know that you've got one side of the brain which is all logic, right? Numbers, figures. We think we make decisions on that, right? But in fact, number one, we make decisions on the other side of our brain, which is all about emotions, how we feel, how we can see ourselves in the future. You're going to buy a lovely pair of shoes, right? All right. And you're already thinking how you're going to feel wearing those shoes, right? And how other people are going to look at you wearing those shoes. Where you're going to go. You can imagine the kind of places you're going to go and the feelings that are going to happen, right? Then you put that together with the price of the shoes, right? And all these other things. And then you make your decision. But essentially it's emotion. So when you look at me and when you listen to me and when you're evaluating and you're hearing what I'm saying, all of these things are connected with how you're feeling. What I'm wearing, it's making you feel something, right? It's what we wear, what we see, we feel something. What we hear, we feel something. The way I move and the type of how I'm feeling about myself. So I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling okay, right? And hopefully that's coming across. And it makes you feel something. If I wasn't feeling good, if I was something on my mind, or I just was tired, or just felt shit about something, maybe that would come through. And you would somehow feel there's something not right here, right? So our feelings of how we feel really help other people feel the same. So what does that mean? That means the times where we're not feeling good, or we're not feeling confident, or we're not feeling great, when we have to, when it's like this, like pitching, on the day of your pitch, right? Demo day, let's say, or whatever it is. You've got all investors, or you've got people there in front of you, and you're not feeling great. Somehow you have to find that. You have to find in yourself, okay, the side of you that is not feeling good, that goes aside, and then you have to go to the other side. Oh, I need to feel good on this. I need to share my value. Again, think of the things of before. What's the value? What am I going to make people feel? Why are they going to listen? What's this idea I'm going to share? Right? It's almost like a secret. Think of pitching like you're sharing a secret, because it is a secret. Your audience don't know really what it is. You know what it is. And you're sharing this cool secret. Now when you share think about this. When you with your buddies, having a coffee, sharing gossip or whatever you're doing, and you're about to share a story or some gossip or something you know is pretty cool, but they don't know. Just when you're about to share that, the way your state changes. It's like, oh, I've got something cool to share. And I'm feeling good because I'm going to share it. Same thing, it's the same, strangely enough, but it's the same idea when you're pitching. As listening to you, I need to feel that you are credible, that you are confident about this, that you believe this, that you are open enough to change your opinions on things, right? All these things come into it, especially pitching, right? Investors, people that are going to be on board with you, partnering with you, they need to feel like you're someone they want to work with. That's really important. How people feel about you, they're thinking, oh, this person, the idea is good, I like it, I think potentially this could be something we could work together on. Maybe some kind of funding, investment, or some kind of financial support, right? And then they'll be feeling, can I work with this person? Now, sometimes the picture, you've seen it, some people are very arrogant. They're very like, they just like think they're fantastic, and they don't listen to any feedback, and they don't listen to negative feedback, and they're like, they think they're great. Right? Who's going to work? Most people don't want to work with those people. They usually want to work with somebody who is open to, as I say, change their ideas, open to listening to feedback that's going to help them grow, right? Humble, confident, but not overly confident, right? So all this is to do with emotions. And this is what we have to always remember. Emotions are number one. So judgment and decisions shaped by emotions we feel. We know that already. And we remember how we feel more than the word. So this whole thing here, when it's finished, tonight, tomorrow, I don't know, the weekend or whatever, when you think about this and what I was saying, most of the things I say you'll forget, right? But you might just remember the feeling you had. Think back to different moments last week, good moments, bad moments, right? It's all emotion. Good moments are good emotions. Think of a bad moment right now. Think of a moment that wasn't good, like made you feel shit for whatever reason. Rejection, you got rejected by a guy or woman, or at work there was something you did which was wrong, or I don't know, you had there was conflict or something, right? It's emotion, it's negative emotion. Once you remember we remember negative emotion just as well as we do positive emotion. But thing is, you're trying to give that emotion out, all right? And we can do that in many ways through how we speak, the words I'm saying, how I'm looking at you. So I'm looking at you, just by looking at you. Me looking at you, as I say, and my intention, so my intention is to try to help you. My intention is try to give you some value. So me just looking at you, already, hopefully, there's this connection, this small connection. Because you feel like I want to give you something. If you felt like I don't want to give you anything, so I could be like hands in pockets, right? I could be like looking down here. I could be speaking like this. I could be looking over you, thinking I know everything, and I don't really want to help you. I don't care if you walk away with something or not. I don't care. I could be going over here. I could sort of do this a little bit. So all of these small things tell us something. We're giving out signals all the time. The more we can be aware of these signals, right? The more we can look at ourselves on a video or record ourselves. So when you pitch, you've got to record yourself. Someone's got to record you on your phone, right? Look at it. It might be hard for some people, but look at it. It's going to help you. The more we're aware of how we move, how we stand, what we look like, the better. For years of not looking at myself, but being aware of the things I'm doing, have helped me get better quicker than if I didn't. And these are the things I help people with, to do the same. Sometimes we will see things or hear things we don't want to hear, because sometimes it's not good, because we criticize ourselves, and many of us criticize ourselves a lot, right? We're really critical. Right? So emotions, just think that the emotions you share, next time you look at somebody pitching, try to think to yourself, okay, what am I feeling here? Why is he or she making me feel this way? Right? Things you say to people when you have conversations with people, just one-to-one conversations. It's the same thing. What you say and how you move, even if they're your friends, right? Friends or people you've never met before, first time meeting. All these things are making people feel something. And the idea is to make them feel comfortable, make them no threat at all, right? And getting them to hopefully listen more to you. Okay? Let's move on. There we are. So, the two biggest areas which are influential when it comes to emotion, so there are many areas I've already said, like what you see, right? Movements, what I say, the words I say, right? But there are two areas which are really strong in hitting emotion when we speak, right? Especially when it's presenting or pitching. And these two areas are the sound. So sound, the tone of our voice. So sound is voice when we're talking about presenting. Sound with our voice, that is such a big influencer. We make really strong judgments, and really judgments we can't shake usually. It's really difficult to shake through voice. So you'll agree with me, if we can create a voice, or not create a voice, but shape our voice in a way that's more appealing, let's say, a voice that people are comfortable hearing, a voice that can help them listen to us more, then that's a good thing, right? We'll talk about voice later, all right? That's one area. And the other area is stories, right? So when we start talking about stories, and I'm not talking about like once upon a time, like nothing like that. I'm just talking about these moments of emotion. So things that have happened to me, things that have happened to you. You're telling a little story about someone that you met, maybe somebody, a colleague, something happened to them. A client was happy about what you've done, right? That's story, right? When we talk about that, people are usually, they want to listen more. Gossip are stories, moments of emotion. Celebrity magazines, whoever is getting married, or someone's pregnant, or somebody is having an affair with somebody, right? this is just stories. But we want to, well, not everybody here, but a lot of people like to, they want to listen to that. They're focused on that, right? So stories can be really strong with sound to really touch emotion and get people to listen. We'll talk about that later, right? Okay, let's move on. Creating the emotional temperature. So from the beginning, my intention, I said to myself in my mind, I didn't maybe say it to myself, but I knew that what I have to do here, I create this temperature here, this energy here, not my audience. All right. Most people think it's the audience that creates the temperature or the atmosphere. It's you. It's usually you. You can create the temperature and the atmosphere and the energy. And I do that in the way that I'm doing now, right? So my voice, how I'm moving, how I'm looking at you, how I'm standing, how I feel about myself right now, how I feel about the value I'm going to share. I'm in control of that. I have not, from here onwards, right? I don't know. I don't know what's going in your minds, right? Lots of things going in your mind, right? Anything could happen. Like 2 guys just left. Boom. They just left. They've gone. I could think to myself, oh shit, I'm really bad. I've said something that they didn't like and they hate me. And they've gone. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's, I don't know. Or probably, I don't know, probably, maybe it's because they have something else on. Maybe they've got an email they have to check, or maybe there's an emergency, or maybe it was already agreed that they would go at that time, right? So I don't know, and I can't assume. All I can do is focus on what I'm doing here, creating this emotional temperature with you, all right? And you have to do the same anytime you speak, whatever it is, even if it's small, big, a pitch, TEDx speech, presentation, little meeting, a meeting online, on Zoom, 5 minutes, speaking to lots of people. You create that temperature. Right? Movement, gestures. Our movement, again, our movement gives you signals, and these signals, you interpret these signals as something, and it's connected with emotion, and you judge me by that, right? So, calmness, number 1 is calm, equals control. When we're nervous, what happens when we're nervous in our bodies? What do you think? Or what happens in your body when you're nervous? Could be nervous for anything. When you present, when you have an argument or a conflict, or you're shouting at someone's shouting at you, you're shouting at them. What happens to your body? What's happening at that point? Tell me. Shaking, yeah. There's like blood is going up and down. Blood's pumping. That's right. Shaking. What else? Think of the last time you got really, Sweating. That's right. Absolutely. Sweating because you know why we sweat? I'll tell you why we sweat. We sweat because the body needs to pump more blood, because we need that within our body, right? So when we get nervous, that our body pumps more of that, and it's too much, and that's why we sweat, right? Any other things that happen? Blushing, absolutely, yeah. We often move, so the energy has to get out. So often when you see people speak, and you've seen it, you might do it yourself. Right, there's movement, right? It might be like this, or people might want to move around, move here, or often it's like front, back, kind of like this, and they don't know they're doing it, and it's... So, when you pitch, when you present, whatever you do, your first 60 seconds, which is the most important 60 seconds, because that's the time you're judging people the most, your audience judges you the most. You need to show you're calm and in control. You show those 2 things, already your credibility goes up. And the way you do that is so simple. You just stay still. Okay? You just boom, boom, stay still. So you come out to pitch, First thing you do, at least for the first 60 seconds, if it's a short pitch, you can do the whole thing staying. You don't need to move around. If it's 20 minutes, then yeah, because people need change. We need change. But for 3 minutes, stay where you are. If you're just speaking for a couple of minutes to somebody, to a group, stay where you are. And that calmness in your body is number one, credibility. If your body is calm, guess what else is going to be calm? What do you think else could, huh? The audience, yeah, absolutely. Your audience becomes calmer. Absolutely, yeah. Good. I was thinking of something else. Mind, yeah, okay. That's really good. I wasn't thinking of that. That's another thing. There's one more. That's it. Yeah, no, but it's so true. Yeah, but your voice. So you're calm here, and your breathing starts to relax a little bit. It doesn't go down. You're still kind of nervous. But as you start to just relax, your voice becomes more relaxed and you become more credible. All right. So think about these two things. Think about a clown. Think about a clown, right? A clown. In your head, a clown. What are the kind of movements of a clown? Tell me. Clumsy. Yeah. Okay. Clumsy clown. You can have a clumsy clown. Yeah. Lots of movement, lots of jumping, lots of energy, lots of everything, right? Okay? And what's the credibility of a clown? Listen, clowns are cool. Clowns are cool. We all like clowns, right? But in terms of credibility, in terms of seriousness, in terms of intellect, in terms of trustworthiness, in terms of all these other sort of elements, clowns naturally are pretty low down on the scale. Right? With movement. Over here, let's think about royalty. Think about presidents. Think about people of high stature. Right? What is their movement like? What kind of movement? How would you describe their movement? Controlled. Very still, very still. I mean, you look at royal family; it's very still. There's not much movement there at all. But up my queen who just passed, it was just the hand. You know, it was just hands usually. Very. Oh, okay, she was old as well, but generally, presidents, prime minister here. You think of the movement, president. It's pretty much not even too much with the hands as well. Not many gestures, but it's very calm, right? And that straight away gives you this credibility rather than if you were moving, right? Hi, I'm here to tell you all about these great things. It's good for energy, but you can still have energy if you're calm. You can have this focused energy. Like right now, I could stand here and tell you, you will learn you will walk away with lots of great stuff. A few ideas that are going to help you become stronger. Help you think differently, help you feel better. So can you see, I'm just staying where I am. The energy I still have this same intention and the energy, but I'm not moving at all. I'm just my gestures. So think about, again, next time you're pitching, you're presenting, stay still the first 60 seconds or so, and that will just give you this, people will see that you're calm. And that's a really important thing at the beginning, even though you might not be calm, right? Probably not. Most of us are quite anxious. So when I do, so Shift, for example, Infobit Shift just went by. All the events I do on big stages, wherever the Middle East, wherever around the world, I have big audiences, right? And I'm nervous. I am nervous. I see the audience, but then I'm focused. I have my cards. I know what I'm going to say. I'm like, my first 2 sentences, I know exactly those words, and I know exactly how I'm going to say it. And I come out, bang, usually in the middle, near the front, because it's closer to them, and it's right in the middle, and I stay still. I stay still, and I say my words. I'm not like moving, I'm not like over here, I'm just, because I need the audience to see me and think, yeah, this guy's in control. This guy feels good and feels comfortable and excited at the same time about what's going to happen, and it's going to make them feel the same. So sticking still is always a good thing. Own your space, which I do. I try to do that. again, I own my space, I own my space here by staying still, but still around me here, my gestures are pretty much here, right? They're not sort of here. If this was a big audience of 5,000 people, right, my gestures would be like this, right? With a microphone, I'll be like this. Here, this is all you need to see. You need to see this here, right? My legs are slightly apart. They're not together, because if they're together, if someone came to push me, it's easy to push me over. I have to show you I'm stable, physically stable and mentally stable, right? I could do that mentally through my voice, physically through my... And actually, a lot of the time, my trick is often I put 1 foot forward and 1 foot slightly back when I'm speaking, like this. Because this even gives you this impression, I'm like, I'm not going to jump out at you, but I'm giving you something. I'm giving you something because I want to give you something. And it's even more difficult to push me over. I'm even more stable like this than I am like this. All right? Just a few things to think about. Being bold and focused. When I say bold, focus, you know what that's all about. I've just explained. Bold in my words. I haven't said to you, well, I think it would be like this, or maybe it's like this, or perhaps you could do this, or I kind of believe it's like it. I'm telling you, like, the things I say to you, I believe them because I do them. And it can help. Not everyone, but it can help. And my phrases are clear. There's no like, I'm not quite sure. Well, maybe, perhaps if you do this. Sometimes. They're all like this. Try this. If you try this, this could help. That could help. Still bold. It's still very bold, right? So my phrases are bold. If you're not bold, people start to think you don't believe what you're saying. Audiences are very judgmental. Very judgmental. Very. You can't change that. Again, what you can do is just do all these behaviors to help your audience start to feel those signals that are more towards what you want. Okay? Right, let's move on. Voice awareness. So, I've already mentioned our voice is like the biggest influencer. It's like the biggest one, especially in a virtual world, right? Because we don't have all the things. We only have a screen. We can't see. Okay, physically, we have different things with different signals, how we move, what we say, how we say it. But the voice is the biggest one, right? So, and a voice can make something great, and it can make a presentation pitch awful. I don't care what you're talking about. The voice can make it, because that's the thing that it should be appealing. That's the thing people need to hear, and they're judging you on it, right? So with a voice, I could be some voices. We all know some people that speak quickly, or don't speak quickly enough, or speak too much, or have an annoying voice. And if I say to you annoying voices, how would you describe an annoying voice? He's pointing at you. You do. Okay, he's not too happy about that, but I'm sure his voice isn't that great anyway. So how would you describe an annoying voice? Tell me.
Monotone.
Yeah, monotone. So always the same. You mean always the same high, low, or always the same? Yeah. So monotone. Really important thing to remember. Monotone can mean. It actually means always the same. It's like one tone, which could mean a high tone. It could mean a really low tone. So I could speak to you like this throughout this 60 minutes. And as I speak to you like this, maybe at the beginning, it sounds kind of good in a way. It's soft, it's low. But if I keep talking like this for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, what? Okay. I get the job, right. So if I keep talking like this, after a while, you would start to sleep and snooze off because it's the same. And you know what's coming. If we know what's coming, bong, our brain turns off. It's being unpredictable, very important thing. So if you are predictable, anything predictable, our brains usually start to turn off. A film you've seen on TV, you know it's coming, you've seen the trailer, you've seen it before, you don't want to see it, right? A book cover, pick it up. I've read this book, don't want to read it again. Anything which we know what's coming, our brains don't like it too much. Our brains prefer things which are new, fresher, right? So I could have this, monotone voice and you would sleep because it's the same. Or let's change it. Oops. Let's change it. If I was to have this energy, just full of this energy up here all the time, up just giving you this kind of Tony Robbins kind of energy all the time for like 5 minutes. Great, it's good, but 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Again, your brains are like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore, sleep. I've got to get out of this. So the trick is to change. You need to keep changing. You need to sometimes speak a little bit faster, sometimes slightly slower, sometimes even softer. Depends. Sometimes a little bit faster, taking it up a little bit further, and then taking it to a point where you're just about to give something that really is important, and you stop. And then you give what that is. So using voice, certainly for me and people that I train and coach, it's looking at your voice as this tool that can help your listeners get connected with you even more, right? So how do you do that? How on earth do you do that? You're thinking, well, hang on a minute, my voice is my voice, and I can't change my voice, right? That's true. Your actual born voice, you can't really change it. But what you can do around it, you can shape it in a very, very good way. When people listen to you and they can hear different things. We can all say things softer. We can all say things sharper. We can all say things with a higher, faster tone, with more excitement. And we can all say things that are maybe more subdued, more serious, right? So it's just about using that in your pitches, especially if they're longer. If it's longer pitches, then definitely. Shorter ones is not too much time. But you can still bring this energy, you can bring it up, down, slower, faster, and you can play with that. Let me show you something with a fast voice. Now, a lower voice, when we lower our voice, so if I lower my voice slightly now, it becomes more appealing. And in business, the way it is, like it or don't like it, a lower voice is usually more appealing, which is why some people have voice training. Females sometimes have voice training because they're usually slightly higher, and bringing it down makes their voice sound deeper and their credibility goes up. Here in Croatia, on TV, there are many presenters on TV news, they have lower voices. If you notice, a lot of them have slightly lower voices. They've either trained for that or somebody explained that, or they just kind of copied a little bit from the men, bringing it down. And the good thing is for ladies, in fact, you can manipulate your voice better than a man. You could do that physically, right? So I'm not saying you need to bring it right down low, but just thinking about how you can bring it slower and deeper is actually a good thing. Let me explain something right now. So I'm going to speak really, really fast. And we all know people who speak fast. Maybe you speak fast, all right? I don't know. But speaking fast, so if I speak really fast, if I ask you to identify the type of tone, what would you say? If I kept talking like this, what kind of tone are we talking about? I'm trying to put as many words as I can into this sentence, and it's really, really difficult, and that's it. Bang. So what was the tone of that? Was it high, middle, low? High. High. Right? So it's really high like that, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to start to slow down a little bit. So I'm not putting my voice lower, I'm just literally slowing down. I'm just taking a breath in as I'm speaking on the breath out. What happens when I slow down? What happens to that tone? Tell me, what is happening to that tone as I speak? Tell me, because I can't keep telling you. It gets lower, bravo. It gets lower, right? So slowing down. So just by slowing down, and when you're speaking to an audience, a larger audience, the speed it should be slower anyway. Just by slowing down, can be a lower, more appealing voice. Okay. So me speaking to you like this. Slowing down. The more I tell you, remember this as well, the more I give you, so in this 60 minutes together, the more I speak, what do you think happens to your brains? Do your brains have to work harder the more I speak, or less hard? Harder. That was like, actually, your brains have to work harder, right? So the more, if I was giving you more, if I spoke even more, and I was giving you all these technical stuff, and I was like telling you this, like in these elements, so many things, your brains, to focus on me, it'll have to work really hard. Your brain doesn't want to work hard. Probably doesn't work hard anyway, right? In Split, I don't know. But our brains don't want to work hard. Because when it gets to a point where they are working hard, they have to stop. So what does that mean for me as a speaker? I have to give you less. I have to give you less, but more value. To give you shorter sentences, less ideas, simple words and phrases. Yeah? Simple. I don't have to give you big words. I give you big words, two things happen. You have to think about those words more if you're not used to those. And if you're not used to those, my credibility is questionable. Because am I somebody who wants to use big words to impress? Or are those words my words and they're not your words? And there's not this kind of connection. Because I need to have connection with you. I'm trying to touch these points of connection, getting you to connect with me, things that we have in common, right? I need you. So I'm English. I'm from Watford, from England. So I'm different. I am different. I'm a foreigner, right? But there are many things that we're connected with. I live in Split a long time. I live in Croatia a long time. I have kids. And I have the same issues you have. All these things. I live in Split. The traffic. We both have the traffic. So all these things, right? So these are little things that connect. You need to connect. Yeah, today that's absolutely right. Did you hear that? Yeah, my team, Watford Football Club, my adorable team that I'm biggest fan. Slaven Bilic is now the manager of my club, and I like that. It's making me. I feel proud. But people in England, in Watford, they don't really care about that. But I care about it. So when I go back to Watford, I will go to the match, and I will get a picture with Slaven. Huh?
Since you're in Split, do you have something in that?
Do I with Slaven? No, nothing. But I will. If I go back to Watford, I will go to a match, and I have to get a photo with him. I'll do a video. Slaven Bilic, and I'll tell him, split your samya. Anyway, with the same, and then he'll probably get sacked. He'll probably get sacked very, very quickly, because that's what happens with Watford. Anyway, so voice variation, and you just change it up a little bit. This is just a quick overview: high, low, slow, fast, and the things connected with that. You mix it up, it's good. You keep on the same, always the same. Not good. Okay? There we are. A few things. Record and listen. So record yourself. How do you know how you sound? How do you know how you sound? So when you speak, when I speak, or when you speak, the sound that comes through your mouth, what you hear is different to what, like, the sounds I hear when I speak is different to the sound you hear. My sound, the sound that I hear, is more, it's muffled. It's more like, because I have like all my skin around here, and the air, it's actually coming out. I only hear kind of bits of it as it comes out. And because I have lots of skin here, we all do, the sound is a different sound, right? A way to, you know, a really good way to know how you sound, 2 ways. Record yourself and listen. Number 1, greatest way. The other way is you get like cardboard or paper, right? And you go like that. It's strange. And then you speak. Your voice will sound different. And it's a closer way of actually hearing. You don't have to do that. It's a silly way to do that. But I've done it before. It works. But record yourself and you hear yourself. And then you critique yourself. Openly say to yourself, you know, maybe I could sound better there. Maybe, why did I speed up there? Or maybe I could slow down there. Or maybe I should say something, I should wait and pause there. Right? So shaking it up. Record and listen. Slow down. Enjoy the pauses. Enjoy the pauses. Less words given to you. Less, your brain doesn't work as hard. You can absorb the things I'm saying. I can tell you 10 things. Bang, 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 bang. Or I could tell you 3 things. Slow down. And they're crystal clear. And you'll remember those better, probably, than 10. Right? Power projection. So when I'm speaking to you here, even here actually, when I stand here, I'm not speaking the same way. If we were sitting down over there, it was just us two outside having a coffee, I would not speak this way. I would not project my voice in the same way. Right? So right now, where my voice is coming from down here. Right? Can you do this for me? Can you put get your hands, go like this? He's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Sorry, it's funny. If you do look funny. No, not funny. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. I'm laughing. Forget it. Anyway, so put your hands here on the hips. Above the hips, the kind of speckage, right? Some of you got more than others, that's cool, right? Just put it there, lay it on there, and then do this for me. Go shh, not hard, doesn't have to hurt. Don't like, okay? Just a shh, and do it 5 times. All right, we'll do it together. Ready? Shh, 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 shh. Okay, another 5. Six. Anyway, that, take them off, that, you can feel it was like just a little bit going, yeah, you felt like a that is the muscle that you use, that I'm using right now to project my voice. My voice isn't coming from here, it's coming from down here, right? The more you practice on this, the more you can use it, and it sounds different. Right? So I'm starting from down here. I'm getting, every time, you can't see it or you can't really feel it, but I'm lots of pauses, and I'm taking a breath in. It's going here. And then I push it out with that. So if I talk right now, as I'm speaking, here, right? So I'll speak to you now. Yeah, it's true. I'll speak to you now just from here, okay? So I have to think, okay, my air isn't going to go down, it's just going to go there, and it's going to keep going sort of like that, okay? So if I speak to you like this, the air, what's happening is it's starting from here. Already, probably sounds a little bit higher, right? Probably that's what I'm hearing, right? Also, I feel like I'm running out of breath because I need to get the breath in here. It's going out. I'm not getting enough breath coming in. So it sounds higher, right? Okay. So it's now coming from down here. I'm getting enough breath, enough air, and all I need to do is go, and that's enough air to come right in. It's really strange. We don't need, we can all speak on a long, keep talking, on a very little bit of breath. What does that mean? It just means you can take very short breaths after each sentence with a pause. So I can explain to you now that this is all about sharing ideas to be stronger speakers. Stronger speakers that are going to help you become more confident, more credible, and more comfortable with your surroundings. I took already like 4 or 5 breaths in there, rather than just one long speech. All right? So your breath really can help. Okay? Let's move on. Persuasive speech, coming towards the end now. So what we say, the words we say, how we say our words the feeling is really important, and we remember that. But still, the words we use are meaning. People take meaning from words we use, right? So there are many, with persuasive speech, there are many formulas of persuasive speech, lots, like hundreds, literally, right? Just a few, because when I speak to you, I want you to connect with me. And if I can say things things that are in common, we're already together. Like small, somehow, bing, together. Like if I say to you, like, I'm sure you'll agree, the weather now, the change of weather doesn't feel good, does it? There's something in the air here in Split now. It always happens, yeah? Yeah? Yeah. He's like, well, yeah, well, yes. You all agree with me somehow. Or I can say to you, yeah, like summer, it felt like, in June, it felt like we were in July, August, with so many tourists, right? You'll agree with me. Again, I don't need you to tell me yes or no. It's something that we know. And if it's something that we know, all these things that we know, and we're sure we know that your audience knows, you can say things like this. I'm sure you'll agree. Let me take you back to, for example, takes us in a place. I want to take you back to a place. Like, let me take you back to January. You remember January? January here? Pretty bad, huh? There was like nothing happening, like it is every year, huh? So again, I'm just taking you somewhere. I can take you forward. I can take you anywhere by just saying, or imagine this. Imagine is a great word. Imagine what it would be like if. Great phrases for working with startups, working with founders, getting people to imagine what it would be like as a solution. So this is all the bad things, these are all the bad things, lots of cars in Split, lots of traffic, but imagine there was a way in Split, imagine if there was a way somehow to reduce the traffic, still have the tourists spend the money, but reduce the traffic, and locals will be more calmer and happier, and tourists would be happy as well to visit Split. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? We don't know how, but we're just going straight to the result. We're going straight to the great result, right? And then you explain how you get there, right? Many different ways. Okay, just a word here. You'll discover. You can change your words to get people to feel slightly different. I can say to you, right, you will learn here over 60 minutes, you will learn this, this, and this. Or I could say to you, over 60 minutes, you'll discover, hopefully you'll discover, better word, hopefully you'll discover, I would love you to discover this, this, and this. 2 very different phrases. You'll learn is like, okay, I'm telling you, you're going to learn. Now, maybe you won't learn, because we all have learning styles differently, right? We all learn differently. We all take in things differently. And it's almost like you feel like you're in school, right? Because school is for learning. Boom. Discover is more you-centric, isn't it? It's more like you will kind of like, oh, really? Like you're taking it off and like, woo. Like you're discovering something. You'll discover for yourself. And that sounds and feels better. So the words you use can affect how people feel. Right, storytelling. How long have I got, by the way? What is the time?
Okay. We are on the time.
Oh, we're already out of time. All right, quickly.
But since nobody complains,
Maybe they want to go, but emotionally they do want to. Okay, very quickly. Right, storytelling. Why is storytelling powerful? I mentioned earlier on a few things. I'd love to hear what you think. Why, when we tell stories, we use kind of stories in our presentations, in our pictures, in getting people to listen to us. Why does this kind of work? Why is this a good thing to think about using? What do you think? Tell me.
Because of the connection.
Connection, yeah. Things that relevance, right? If it means something to you and it's something to me, then we're already connected, and that's good. Any connection is good. Any connection is good. Listen, it's raining outside, but it's great to be in the warmth today, isn't it? Yeah. Boom. That's a connection. So simple, but it's a connection. So all your connections are good. Any other things that tell us why storytelling is powerful? Yeah.
I think it also is easier for people to remember.
Completely. The stories, moments of emotion, we can remember this better than let's say just facts and figures. You put the facts and figures and wrap it with story and emotion, you can remember it better. And that's what we want. We want people to remember us. We want people to remember what we say. Because there's so many things every day in our brains, in our lives. Everybody, we've got so much going on. Kids, family, work, stress, problems, crisis, everything's good, bad, everything. Messages, we're hearing things all the time. Why on earth should we remember somebody speaking? But if you can do it with a story, it helps. We remember stories much better. Here's a few things that I've come up with, right? And there are many more, but these are the main ones, right? Relatable. If it's something that people can connect with, like we said, it's relatable, it means something, it's relevant, people remember. It's honest. So if I start talking about something that happened to me yesterday, let me explain something that happened to me yesterday when I was walking through on the river, walking past some of the bars there, right? As soon as I start talking about that, usually the listener feels it's true. It's strange, isn't it? Maybe it's a complete lie. Maybe I'm making it up and I'm a good liar. But your brains usually feel this is true and it's honest, which is how like fake news comes around, because we usually believe things that we're told in terms of stories. Okay? So it's a good way for our listeners to at least give us the benefit of the doubt that this could be true. Okay? Whoops. Creates instant connection with the speaker, like we said. Memorable. Uses the listener's imagination, right? So I could say to you, I want you to think about this, right? Desert island. You're on a desert island, and you can have any chocolate bar you like. Okay? You can have it for 1 month. Any chocolate bar you like. Right? Okay. No, forget that. Forget that idea. We'll do a different idea. Forget it. What is it? What are you having, Milka? Oh, beer. That's not chocolate. Anyway, put that aside. Right. Okay. Imagine this. Imagine from tomorrow, you are on holiday. Your boss has said to you, listen, you're on holiday. You can do anything you like for 2 weeks. You get paid holiday. You can have beer if you want to. So 2 weeks, paid holiday, you can do anything you like for 2 weeks. Go anywhere you want. Right? Think about that right now. Think about how that feels. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah? He's like, oh yeah, you bet. He's like that, yeah, drinking beer. Right, I don't know where you're going to go for 2 weeks. Maybe you'll stay here. Maybe you'll watch Netflix for 2 weeks. Maybe you'll just be in a pub, in a cafe bar for 2 weeks drinking beer. Maybe you'll go to the Caribbean if you've got enough money. Maybe you'll watch movies. Maybe you'll go to Madagascar. I don't know, whatever, right? I don't know, but I know it feels good. And I know that the imagination that I've given you makes you feel good. Because I've said to you, feels good, right? I've nodded, you've nodded. So I've taken you to a place just by giving you this imagination, just creating this story in your head, the emotion, and I've taken you there. And that's what we can do. We can always do. We don't have to be specific in these stories. We can just be creating a feel, moments, these emotions. Okay? And builds anticipation as well. So story, we don't know where the story's going, do we? I talked about Riva yesterday while I was on. Let me tell you something that happened to me, right? You don't know what, you have no idea what's going to happen. All you know is like, what's happening? So, and it's curious. So a story creates curiosity. Always good. Curiosity gets people listening. Okay? Right. Moments of emotion, as I've mentioned. Emotion. So all these different moments of emotion, that is simply what stories are. They don't have to be big, epic stories, going up a mountain, Olympic gold medalist, had nothing, rags, had nothing at all, very poor, and then suddenly became, CEO or married a king or whatever, prince or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything like that. These are stories that are happening to us all the time. Things that are happening to us every single day. Clients' stories, your stories, things that are happening to you, things that happen to members of the family that have a message. All right? Stories often, it's the message, it's the lesson. Right? Again, some common ground. So have you ever been, let's say I'm talking about, let's say I had a story about I was on a plane and it was delayed, let's say that was the story, and I talk about how it goes and what happened to me and then this and that. But I could start off by bringing you with me. I can say something like, have you ever been on a plane or have you ever been delayed at the airport, right? Have you ever been delayed? I imagine most of you at some stage have been delayed. Maybe some of you have actually been on the plane where it's delayed, where you're just waiting, sitting on the plane, ready to take off, right? But you can imagine what that feels. Some of you know that feeling. Some of you haven't been there, but you can imagine what it feels like, right? You can imagine, what does it feel like? Tell me. Actually, I'm asking you. Tell me what that would feel like if you were on the plane, ready to take off, and you're delayed already an hour, you're sitting there an hour and you don't know what's going on. How would you feel? What are the emotions that you're feeling? Frustrated, yeah, absolutely frustrated, like not knowing what's going to happen. Maybe that frustration turns to anger a little bit, right? The first person you see, the stewardess or steward, you get angry, right? Or you worry, or anxious, or tired, really tired. You had a long journey and you've changed planes. So maybe you haven't been there on the plane, but you can imagine what it feels like. So this idea of getting people to feel these emotions, of imagining these emotions, it's easy to imagine emotions, isn't it? It's easy to imagine emotions, even though we haven't been there, right? I've never flown a plane, right? But I can imagine the feeling if I'm inexperienced and I have to fly a plane, my second time on a plane going through a storm. I can imagine what that feels like. A little bit scary, nervous. I have to prove to the other pilot that I can do what I'm doing. I have to keep cool, but I'm trying not to show that I'm sweating. So we can imagine emotions. That's why when we watch a movie, all these emotions coming out, we can imagine what it feels like. The fright, rejection, surprise, all these emotions we can feel, right? There we are, a few things. Imagine, picture this, same as imagine, right? Lovely. I have a script. I have just in my PowerPoint. I have the same logo as yours. I can't go back. Anyway, it's done. Right. So, yeah, I can't go back. Anyway, that is the end of this. Do we have time for questions? Not really. Do we?
Maybe one or two, and after that, with the drinks.
Absolutely. All right, any questions? Everyone's like, no, straight to the drinks. Any questions at all? Anything at all you want to ask before we go?
Maybe I just have emphasized a few things, and then maybe a few questions will come out. Evo, ovdje je zanimljivo, znači, ako ste sad pogledali, znači, ovo je cijela jedna riznica znanja koju Peter ima uslijed svog dugogodišnjeg rada, puno je toga što generalno se može na sve primijeniti. Ali ja ću vam samo spomenuti malo evo za naše startupe, da sad pokušate otvrtiti što je ovdje sve primijenio na vas. Vidite se da je dosta toga Peter rekao što se u masi onoga što ima, puno je toga što možete i primijeniti. Znači, vi ćete imati ovdje žiri koji su stvarni ljudi koji isto tako možete im zakupiti pažnju, možete ih zatrpati brzim govorom, tihim govorom, možete ih učiniti nervoznim sa ovim, možete zvučati nezainteresirano. Sve što ste ovdje rekli, to su živi ljudi koji vas, znači, džađaju, kao se kaže na hrvatski to,
prosuditi.
Koji vas prosuđuju i razmislite o ovome što smo ovdje vidjeli i to primijenite. Znači, nije nebitno kako stojite, kakav dojam odajete, kako sigurno zračite, projicirate. Prema tome, ovdje postoje deseci stvari koje se direktno mogu primijeniti upravo na onih vaših 4 plus 4 minute pića. Znači, 4 minute, a ovdje 10-15 stvari o kojima je Peter govorio više od sat vremena. Zato puno toga mi kao nismo svjesni, ne znamo, ali dobro je malo da nam je on to razložio na te sve male detalje, jer svaki od tih detalja, znači, dio je vašeg pića i odlučuje o tome koliko ćete biti uspješni ili nećete. Sadržaj je jedno, prezentacija je drugo. Znači, mi pričamo o sadržaju, vi ste tu eksperti, ali prezentacija je nešto što je bitno da vam je Peter skrenuo pažnju i secirajte ovo što ste čuli. Također ovaj video imamo, ekskluzivno će biti samo za naše članove, da možete malo pogledati to još jedan put. I ono sad što bi volio da, znači ovdje u spiče se dogovorimo, Peter se stavi na raspolaganje da evo sutra ili preksutra, vidjet ćemo, nema vas puno, po pol sata sa svaki od vas uzme i da malo mu vi prezentirate vaš projekt, a on će vam dati nekakve savjete. Moram reći evo za Team Terminal da je vama Peter praktički vrhunski klijent, jer on jednostavno tokom godine putuje desetke puta i više, jel tako da svaki aerodrom zna kao svoj vlastiti džep, tako osim komunikacijski iskoristite ga i mentorski. Peter, je li to u redu?
Yeah, super zvuči. Yeah, good. Just by the way, so I'm on LinkedIn. If you haven't connected with me on LinkedIn, maybe you don't want to connect with me, I don't care. But if you do, link up on LinkedIn, also Hopwood Story and Speaker Coaching. You can go to that page and you'll see the stuff that I'm doing as well. You never know when we might need each other. Any questions or anything on your mind that you want to ask or anything at all, is the time now. Okay? Yeah. Just ask me.
Yeah. In the part about the problem versus solution, you mentioned how it's important to build credibility. Why are you the person that can represent this problem? And I was wondering, how do you build this credibility? Is that by all the things that you mentioned afterwards about the way you speak and your voice, or is it something else?
Yeah, all those things are important for the credibility. But, for example, with the problem, if we can show our experience, for example, with that problem, because we know through the last 5 years of working with this, I came across this problem, right? And so it has been bugging me for so long, and so I decided to find a solution. So in the work we do, right, that's one way. If we haven't been doing the work in that problem, that's okay. Then it comes down to what? It comes down to passion. It comes down to understanding, showing somehow that you understand the problem because you've been studying the problem, because you know someone maybe in your family has been faced with that problem, or you face that problem as the client, as the customer, as the person, head on with that problem, right? Because let's say, are you startup, right? No.
Yeah.
She said no. Yeah. No. Okay, what's the problem? No, I don't mean what's the problem. I mean what is not your problem, but what is the problem with the startup you're trying to solve?
Yeah, so that it's difficult to navigate airports.
Oh right, okay. All right, okay, yeah, okay. So it's difficult to navigate airports, and you're creating like an app that is going to help when people can go any airport, they go on it and they can get through quicker and easier, right? So how did you come up with that problem? How are you connected with that?
Well, I've experienced it
So
myself.
as a traveller, as a traveller and somebody who's experienced it many times, and probably there was a time that looked just like you thought, fuck, you know, maybe you were late or maybe you missed your plane or whatever, right? So showing that and really delving into that and really helping other people understand, you know, listen, I'm sure many of you, when you've travelled, sometimes, quite often, you have no idea where you are in the airport, how far the departure gate is, whether there's a pharmacy nearby, whether there's this, there's that, right? And that happened to me so many times as a traveller. And you can even say that once I actually missed my flight only because I just imagined that the gate was just over there, when in fact it was 20 minutes and I had to get a train, one of those small shuttle trains or whatever, right? So that shows me you have credibility. If you don't say that and you just say, right, travellers, again, apart from, away from you, right? So travellers, they have problems when they're at airports because they don't know where they're going, right? This is the solution. There's no connection with you. You yourself always have to jump into the problem and show why you're doing this problem. If somebody who works at an airport, perfect, they see it. Somebody who travels extensively, great. Somebody who travels just a little bit, who's faced that problem. Maybe you travelled once and you missed your flight because you didn't know how far something was. That's all it takes. And you want to solve this because you felt that pain. Right? If you can show you felt the pain, or you know someone close to you that's felt that pain, that frustration, it's so easier for others to listen to you and build up your credibility. Dami, tell me a little bit about I've got a lot to say on that.
Yeah.
We'll have a chat.
You can always say, even Peter Hopwood lost at this airport. So
Yes.
that is very powerful.
I've got a lot. Yeah, when we chat, there's a lot of things I want to question you on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You will have your time. Znači, evo vidite samo još ovo stvar što je Peter rekao, znači vjerodostojnost. Kako smo došli iz komunikacijskog puta da bi nekog uvjerili u vaše rješenje koliko je dobro, da morate pokazati koliko dobro poznajete problem. Znači vidite kako smo došli sa dvije različite stvari na isti zaključak. To je ono što mi cijelo vrijeme govorimo, znači znanstveno utemeljeno. Ok, ima li još koje pitanje možda? Ako ne, onda predlažem da se prebacimo malo. Zahvaljujem svima što ste izašli iz komfort zone, došli malo večeras, družili se, ostanite koji minut, nastavite biti izvan komfort zone, upoznat se, vidjet ćete da je to dobar osjećaj i sasvim dobro se nadopunjava na ove komunikacijske skillove. Hvala vam, vidimo se ovdje.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no. No. I see.